announcing the 2024 upcoming presidential ticket. Joe Biden with John Fetterman. Campaign slogan, it's a no-brainer. Though this may seem funny, did enough of us really choose these people by voting them into public office? Did enough of us really vote for men with known mental disabilities, even if by no fault of their own? I sincerely ask, are these examples of people we would want flying the commercial jetliner we're flying on? Steering the nation or state we're living in? Is this what and who we want to lead us to navigate the chaos of what's going on around in our nation and world and what's ahead? Is it by sheer ignorance, hatred for an opposing candidate, or just apathy? And let me remind you, if we choose not to think or decide, we've still made a choice. Please tell me no. Folks, we need no desire to disparage anyone, including these two men, as otherwise we're only asking for ourselves to be disparaged, and we're better than that. However, it's not about their desire to be leaders, it's about their character, their moral character, but also their ability. It's about competency. Competency in leadership matters. If not, the evidence is in the world around us right now as truth. What we know and who we choose to lead all matters. But we need to care, not give up, and we must choose and then demand our leaders fulfill their oaths and represent us, or vote them out. We need to be awake and aware. But perhaps not enough of us are awake enough to get that. Truth is, some of us might have thought enough of us were becoming awake, but the following examples, as well as my initial presidential ticket announcement show, it's not funny. And more of us need to wake up. We need to wake up more. Or maybe it's just not bad enough yet.
With universal mail-in voting, which results in people like Sunny Hostin of The View going on TV and claiming she committed voter fraud, well, we've got a big problem, don't we? And what we're seeing now is, and this one really hit me because we work here. To the south, you have the red districts of West Virginia, but then wedged in between for seemingly no reason is this blue strip. Hey, that doesn't make sense. You will not convince me the people of this panhandle want a Democrat to represent them. I know because I am here. Either way, how is it that in an area surrounded by Trump flags, Trump signs, FJB, and they're everywhere, you end up with a district that is Democrat? Mail-in voting is the reason. It's universal mail-in voting. That's it. People who don't know anything about what's going on politically are turning out to vote. That's reality. That's what it is. Now, my wish is that you know that Hands Up, Don't Shoot was a hoax. You know that Ukraine-gate, Russia-gate, hoaxes. These people don't, and they don't care. They don't know, they don't care. I'll tell you what is happening. I said it 2 years ago. I said it a year and a half ago, a year ago, and I'll say it again now. Politics, it's completely meaningless if universal mail-in voting is the system. It is the degradation of our electoral process, and it has terrifying results. What this means is that in these blue areas, mainly urban centers where the advantages are taking place, you've got 18 to 26-year-olds who still live with their parents. Boy, it almost seems like it's on purpose, huh? Maybe Joe Biden was tanking the economy to make sure that he retained power. Maybe tanking the economy, they knew it didn't matter if they destroyed the economy because the informed vote would never outpace the cult vote. The kids don't care. They don't want to vote. They're not involved. They don't know what's going on. And if you don't, you shouldn't vote. But the Democrats rely on ignorant voters, which is why they want the voting age reduced to 16, which is insane. 16-year-olds, most haven't even gotten a paycheck yet. They don't know what taxes are. No, I have no problem with informed voters voting. Informed voters, good thing. Uninformed voters, bad thing. So here's where we go now. I jokingly tweeted this. Republicans should run on the platform of giving everyone $10,000 and worry about whether it's unconstitutional after they win. But Joe Biden did it. The reason many liberals are dumping the party, Democrats, is because they're not catering to logic. But with universal mail-in voting, with just getting the votes, you're never going to win. You think that you can beat the ignorant masses? Look, we try to inform them. That's the game that I play, trying to get as many people as possible to know what's going on. But when you're up against the lie machine, it's very, very difficult. Most people don't know, don't care, don't want to know, and don't want to wake up from this. Some people think they're quote-unquote woke, but they're actually indoctrinated into the cult. Example, they believed Jussie Smollett, they believed the Ahmaud Arbery story, they believed Ukraine-gate, Russia-gate, Covington Catholic, hands up, don't shoot, need I continue? They believe everything we know, false. So long as universal mail-in voting is the law of the land in many of these places, and it is, Republicans will never win again. They won't. Unless, of course, Republicans start playing the pandering game to the ignorant masses and offering up 10 grand for their vote. Now, apparently, it's unconstitutional. But, it didn't stop Joe Biden from doing it in the first place, even when he said he didn't think he had the authority to do it. So, Republicans, we're entering 2024. And while we wait for the results to see if Kari Lake can actually win in Arizona and try and clean this system up, I have one piece of advice for you. Don't be stupid. Start offering up cold hard cash. That's all that matters, right? There's that quote, I can't remember who said it, but he said something like, the Republic will only stand until politicians realize they can bribe the voters with their own tax coffers or something like that. Now, I'm not literally saying Republicans should do that, but what do? What's the point of this right now? I want to go back to showing you this image. Maryland, Western Maryland, heaven help these people. I've been in these, look, I work in the area. I live in the thankfully red area in West Virginia. You go to a bar out here in Western Maryland's Panhandle, and they've got the flags with Trump riding a tank and like holding guns and stuff. They've got Trump riding a velociraptor. This is MAGA country. And they voted Democrats? So the people who are paying attention and want the system to be fixed are competing against a bunch of mindless masses that are being allowed to vote with it's depressing, the result of this. If Republicans are forced to play that game, idiocracy awaits. That's the end result.
This is one of the most important monologues I've ever done, because I've lived through this before. You know the old adage, history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. You've heard it a million times. That's because it's true. Things are just not bad enough yet for a lot of people to wake up from the Kool-Aid slumber. It's just that simple. That's why Republicans had a decent day this week. I'm not buying the apocalyptic, Chicken Little nonsense, but it could have been a better day. I accept that, than we were hoping for. We were hoping for the best. We got an okay day. Yeah, inflation's at record highs, the border's wide open, the fentanyl crisis is wiping out kids across the country, crime is surging in liberal cities, and the economy's in the gutter. Big government is trying to silence your voice, but apparently all of this bad stuff just ain't bad enough. Unfortunately, folks, this bad stuff in these crises are going to get worse before some voters realize that it's the left's fault. I have lived through this before. The only question is, how much worse is it going to get? I guess the answer is a lot worse, as long as some voters keep believing crap like this.
What in the next 2 years do you intend to do differently?
Nothing, because they're just finding out what we're doing. The more they know about what we're doing, the more support there is.
A lot of people think that crime is up when we actually see that shootings are down, subway crime is up. But let's also note that subway crime is up after they committed so many more officers to the subway system. Adding more cops to the subway isn't solving this problem.
Listen, things are going to get better, I promise you. They will. This is not the dark monologue you think it is. But the truth is, we have seen this happen before in deep blue states and cities like New York, where I grew up. And this crazy thing happened. The city cleaned up. Folks, it was like a miracle, except it wasn't. It was just common sense conservatism. And then the craziest thing happened 4 years later. Rudy Giuliani ran for re-election. And he won by a sliver. Just kidding, he actually won by 17 points. Sounds like what just happened in Florida's landslide gubernatorial election with Ron DeSantis. Results matter, folks. BS is cheap. Results walk. BS is just talk. You see, folks, things had to get bad enough in New York City and now before Democrats blame Democrats for the problems Democrats created. Voters in the red states, they've already figured that out.
We saw freedom in our very way of life and so many other jurisdictions in this country wither on the vine. Florida held the line.
No amount of money was going to convince people to escape Marxism and socialism that America should embrace Marxism and socialism.
Fight for our families, fight for the people struggling with the opioid addiction problem, fight for the people, the single moms struggling to raise babies.
But in some blue districts and blue states, they haven't figured it out yet. Because it's just not bad enough. But as the GOP likely embraces its newly gained power, especially in the House of Representatives, there's a lesson that can come from all of this, from Rudy Giuliani and from the Democrats' 2018 midterm victories as well. You better damn well deliver. Remember, BS is cheap talk. Remember the lofty promises Democrats made to voters 2 years into Trump's presidential term?
Right now, who we are as a nation is that we have a crooked path, and it is time to make that crooked path straight.
Our focus, which we decided on early on health care, proved very, very, very beneficial to us because that's the number one issue facing the American people.
The Democratic Congress will be led with transparency and openness. Raise workers' wages with strong economic growth by rebuilding the infrastructure of America. The American people want peace. They want results.
See, Giuliani and DeSantis delivered, but do those Democrat promises sound like anything we have today? I don't remember them promising record high inflation, surging crime, body bags, fentanyl. If conservative leaders aren't careful here, we could fall into a similar trap with our newfound power. Folks, it's time for Republicans to deliver. Deliver like DeSantis and deliver like Giuliani did. The stump speeches are over. Talky time's over. Cutesy time's done. The one-liners don't cut it anymore. This isn't a time for focus groups. It's time for action. We're giving Republicans another chance now to stop the insanity of the left, but also to reform. Reform our government. We need it. If we've ever needed it, we need it now. If conservatives in Congress don't reform this, none of that stuff matters. It's time to put the money where your mouths are right now. It's time for you to deliver what we, the people, want and voted for.